Imagine a vast cloud of gas and dust. It swirled in the darkness, a leftover from a star that had long ago exploded. This was the beginning of our solar system, over 4.5 billion years ago.
Gravity slowly pulled the dust and gas together. The cloud spun faster and faster. Gradually, it flattened into a disk. At the center, the sun ignited, a blazing ball of fire. Farther out, clumps of matter collided and stuck together. Over millions of years, these clumps grew into planets. One of them was our Earth.
At first, Earth was a fiery ball of molten rock. It was constantly bombarded by asteroids and comets. The early solar system was a chaotic place, but slowly, over millions of years, things began to settle down. The bombardment eased, Earth started to cool. As Earth cooled, a thin crust began to form on its surface. Imagine a thin layer of ice on a pond, but instead of ice, it was rock. This crust was constantly broken and reformed by volcanic eruptions. The Earth's interior was still extremely hot. Volcanoes spewed lava, ash, and gases into the atmosphere. The air was thick with carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases we would find toxic today.
There was no liquid water on the surface, only steam. The oceans were still billions of years away, but even in this harsh environment, something incredible was happening. The building blocks of life were starting to form.
The constant volcanic eruptions released water vapor into the atmosphere. As Earth continued to cool, this vapor condensed into rain. Imagine torrential downpours that lasted for millennia. The rain collected in the lower parts of the Earth's crust, forming the first oceans. These early oceans were hot and acidic, nothing like the oceans we know today.
But these primordial oceans were where life first emerged. The exact details are still a mystery. But in these warm, chemical-rich waters, the first simple life forms appeared. These were single-celled organisms similar to bacteria. They were tiny, but they had a remarkable ability. They could replicate themselves.
These early life forms were called prokaryotes. They were incredibly simple, but they were perfectly adapted to their environment. They thrived in the hot, acidic oceans, feeding on the chemicals around them. Over millions of years, they spread across the globe. They were the only living things on Earth, but their impact was profound.
Some prokaryotes evolved a new and remarkable ability: photosynthesis. They could use sunlight to create energy, just like plants do today. This was a pivotal moment in Earth's history. These photosynthetic organisms, called cyanobacteria, released oxygen as a byproduct. Slowly, they began to change the very air we breathe. Section 5: Oxygen, a breath of fresh air for a changing world.
Oxygen was toxic to most early life forms. Imagine a world where the very air could kill you. But, some organisms adapted to tolerate oxygen. They even evolved to use it for energy. This was a much more efficient way to power their cells. It allowed them to grow larger and more complex.
The rise of oxygen led to a dramatic shift in the balance of life on Earth. Anaerobic life forms, those that couldn't tolerate oxygen, were decimated. They retreated to dark, oxygen-free environments. The stage was set for a new era, dominated by organisms that could breathe oxygen. Section 6: The Age of Giants, life finds its feet.
Around 2.5 billion years ago, a new type of cell emerged, the eukaryote. Eukaryotic cells were larger and more complex than prokaryotes. They had a nucleus which contained their DNA. This was a major evolutionary leap.
Eukaryotes gave rise to all plants and animals we see today. Over time, eukaryotic cells began to group together. They formed colonies, then multicellular organisms. The first animals were simple, soft-bodied creatures. They lived in the oceans, feeding on bacteria and algae.
Over millions of years, they evolved into more complex forms. Some developed shells and skeletons. Others evolved into the ancestors of fish, insects, and all other animals alive today.
Section 7: Cataclysm and Rebirth, when life almost ended. Life on Earth has faced many challenges.
One of the most dramatic was a series of mass extinctions. These were catastrophic events that wiped out huge percentages of all species on Earth. The causes of these extinctions varied. Some were caused by asteroid impacts, others by massive volcanic eruptions.
The most famous mass extinction occurred about 252 million years ago. It's known as the Permian-Triassic extinction event, or the Great Dying. It wiped out over 90% of all marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrate species. The exact cause is still debated, but it's thought to have been caused by a combination of factors, including volcanic eruptions, climate change, and ocean acidification. Section 8. The age of reptiles, dinosaurs rule the Earth. After each mass extinction, life found a way to recover.
New species evolved to fill the vacant ecological niches. After the Permian-Triassic extinction, reptiles were among the groups that flourished. They diversified into a dazzling array of forms, from tiny lizards to giant dinosaurs.
The Mesozoic era, which lasted from about 252 to 66 million years ago, is known as the Age of Reptiles. Dinosaurs ruled the land, while pterosaurs, flying reptiles, soared through the skies. In the oceans, ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, marine reptiles hunted their prey. The Mesozoic was a time of incredible diversity and evolution. Section 9. Mammals inherit the Earth, a new era begins. About 66 million years ago, another cataclysmic event occurred.
An asteroid, estimated to be about 6 miles wide, slammed into Earth near the Yucatan Peninsula. The impact triggered massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and wildfires. It released huge amounts of dust and debris into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun and causing a global cooling event. This event, known as the Chicxulub impact, marks the end of the Mesozoic era and the reign of the dinosaurs.
The Chicxulub impact had a devastating impact on life on Earth. It wiped out about 75% of all plant and animal species, including the dinosaurs. But it also created opportunities for new life to evolve. Mammals, small furry creatures that had lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs, were among the survivors. They were able to adapt to the changing conditions and diversify rapidly. Section 10, the Human Age, shaping our planet's future. The Cenozoic era, which began 66 million years ago, is known as the Age of Mammals.
During this time, mammals evolved into a wide variety of forms, from tiny shrews to giant whales. They spread across the globe, colonizing every continent and habitat. And among these mammals, a new lineage emerged, the primates.
Primates are a diverse group of mammals that includes monkeys, apes, and humans. They're characterized by their grasping hands and feet, forward-facing eyes, and large brains. About 6 million years ago in Africa, a group of primates began to walk upright on 2 legs. These were our earliest human ancestors.
Over millions of years, our ancestors evolved larger brains, developed language, and learned to use tools. They spread out of Africa, colonizing the globe. Today, humans are the dominant species on Earth. Our actions are shaping the planet's future.
The current epoch, which began around 11,700 years ago, is known as the Holocene. It has been a relatively stable period in Earth's history, characterized by a warm climate and the rise of human civilization. However, in recent centuries, human activities have begun to have a significant impact on the planet.
We are altering the climate, polluting the oceans, and driving other species to extinction. Some scientists argue that we have entered a new geological epoch, called the Anthropocene, to reflect the profound impact of human activities on the Earth system. The Anthropocene is a time of both challenges and opportunities. We face unprecedented environmental challenges, but we also have the knowledge and technology to create a more sustainable future.
The story of Earth is still being written. The future is in our hands.